Alright, so this is a video with Ackman and Hiddenxperia. It's about the downfall of battle royales, which I for the longest time have been saying that battle royales have really been on a downward slope. Like, they're not as big as they used to be, and it's unfortunate because Halo's working on a battle royale, and it's like Halo's making a battle royale at the worst time because battle royales are actually on the back end side. They're not the craze anymore. Like, people still watching, like, what's his name, Ninja, play Fortnite, but for the most part it's in a back spiral. People aren't growing on Fortnite in 2023. You either already are someone who's established and people's watching because they're you, because you're you, and that's basically it. Like, battle royales aren't growing anymore. So, see what Ackman and Hiddenxperia have to say about it.
Announcing Walmart Battle Royale. Hot drop into your favorite megastore and battle 99 other contenders for loot, power, and glory. This is the fight of your life. Arm yourselves with whatever's in stock to send your fellow consumers back to the parking lot and reign victorious as the champion of the store. The grand prize, glory, and as much 2-ply toilet paper your heart could desire. Walmart Battle Royale. It's Walsome.
Ever feel like something's just gone on for too long? Battle Royales have dominated gaming for over 7 years, but now it's starting to seem like the era of every man and his dog becoming a Battle Royale is finally coming to an end. The genre's past its mania phase. The number of BRs releasing is slowing, and it seems as though it's hit its peak saturation. The three titans, Fortnite, Apex, and Warzone, continue to dominate, but they aren't sucking in as much of the...
Yeah, here's the thing about, like, the downfall battle royales, just to jump in. Notice that the failure that exists. He said the three titans. You know why there's only three titans? Because they're the only ones to be able to succeed, period. Like, it's not like, oh, there's like 10 battle royales that are like successful. It's basically pretty much just three. Fallout tried to have battle royale. Immediately it didn't do well. They shut that down. Battlefield 5 tried to have battle royale. It was garbage. They shut it down. So companies try to do battle royales, and it's just like, okay, it didn't work. PUBG exists, and you know it has its diehards, but it's barely breathing. It's all I support. So you basically have Apex, Warzone, and Fortnite. And when it comes to like those three, two of those are kiddie, and one is like Call of Duty. So it's going to sell because it says Call of Duty. And Fortnite is one of the OG battle royales of, you know, this craze. So it's like you're going to have all these people who've been playing Fortnite since the release, and yet, you know, it's still popular among kids. Apex, I would say, of those three, is more so going downward because Apex itself doesn't really have the name of Call of Duty to sell it, and also it doesn't have that popularity or length as Fortnite, so it's more likely to be the one on the back end than the other two.
General gaming audience as they used to. New updates and entries don't have the population effect that they once did, and overall interest appears to be on the decline. Battle Royales have had their day in the sun, and now a usurper has come for their crown. This is the downfall of Battle Royale. But to understand the downfall, we need to return to the beginning, to a time before victory royales, and to a time when a chicken dinner was nothing more than a hearty, protein-rich meal. Like many hyper-popular games, battle royales were born from mods, but depending on who you ask, the mod that spawned Battle Royale tends to differ. Some people say Minecraft Hunger Games, which was wildly popular in 2012, whereas others, like myself, look to the infamous open-world zombie survival mod for Arma 2, DayZ. Truth be told, I think traces of both mods can be found in modern Battle Royale formulas, but the reason that I'm so certain DayZ was the true beginning of Battle Royale as we know it is because of how BRs evolved in the early days. Now, you're probably wondering how the hell DayZ kickstarted Battle Royale, considering it's not a Battle Royale game. Well, the DayZ mod was simply a foundational experience. Other mods were able to be built on top of it. Enter DayZ Battle Royale, a DayZ mod made by a fella by the name of Brendan Green, or as he went online, Player Unknown. DayZ Battle Royale was a pretty popular twist on the core tenets of the mod. It took its open world, maps, looting, and survival elements and built a more competitive and repeatable experience around them. Unlike DayZ, where your only goal was just survive for as long as possible in a big open world, In DayZ Battle Royale, your goal was to be the last survivor among the other players in the lobby, with the area of play on the map shrinking as the timer ticked on, funneling players into smaller play spaces and forcing engagements until all but one player was dead and the winner was crowned. Now, of course, after 7+ years of having Battle Royales rammed down our throats, this formula is pretty much second nature to us now, right? I mean, it's as much a part of our consciousness as salting a steak, for example. But in 2013, this was a radical new concept. The beginning of gaming's next titan trend. Brendan would go on to remake his mod for Arma 3 in 2014, before being hired by Sony to help them create their own standalone game that was based on his formula, H1Z1 King of the Kill. H1Z1 was the first major AAA foray into Battle Royale, and although it was undoubtedly huge both commercially and culturally, it wasn't a game that took Battle Royale to the radical heights, it would soon reach.
This stupid-ass game! What am I playing?
It certainly drew in a lot of attention, but it was far from dethroning the then kings of gaming. But
Dungeons and Dragons movie.
But Brendan's next project absolutely did. His self-titled PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds changed gaming forever. In 2016, the Korean developer Krafton reached out to Brendan about creating his own game based on his now tried and tested formula. And in December 2017, PUBG released. In Green's own words, the final realization of my vision. It proceeded to absolutely blow up the Steam charts, breaking record after record and by a long shot, and disrupted the entire gaming industry.
Hey, brah, I've been meaning to ask you, can we get some Red Bull for these things? Sometimes the guy's gotta ride the bull, am I right? Later, skater.
Almost every major franchise started pivoting towards Battle Royale. Minor franchises at the time became industry giants. Series that had failed to live up to popularity expectations smashed through them, and long-running games that were starting to lose steam had new life breathed into them like an adrenaline shot in the balls. But for as many Battle Royales released to almost instant worldwide success, at least 10, if not 20 times more, released to immediate failure. Battlefield.
The thing about Battle Royales, what kind of like helps in their success is their ease. Battle Royales, for the most part, compared to other video games, are easier to make, which is why they're free, and they're also easy to monetize. Again, goes back to that's why they're free. So you basically have these games that require less development work than MMO, than a regular shooter, than an RPG. So you have something that's less development time, and you have something that's generating you more money than those things. Battle Royale should generate more money than a regular shooter. Battle Royale should generate more money than an RPG game. Battle Royale should generate more money than an action game. It competes with MMOs. I'm not going to like say wholeheartedly that they surpass MMOs in how much like money they make, because WoW makes a shit ton of money. Final Fantasy 14 makes a shit ton of money. You know, Black Desert, people are spending $1,000 a day on Black Desert. Even games like Diablo Immortal was making like what, $1 million a freaking month or some shit like that, or a week. So like it's not, Battle Royales aren't making like that kind of money yet, but Apex made $1 billion last year. And I imagine Fortnite's doing damn near the same. I imagine Warzone's pretty close to that too. It's easy money or with less work. So it's like it's easy to just be like Battle Royale, throw it out. That's why Halo supposedly is gonna try Battle Royale. That's why Battlefield tried. That's why Fallout 26 tried to have Battle Royale, because it's an easy thing to like attempt. There's this game called Spell Something that I played. It was Battle Royale. Yeah, this Vampire Masquerade has Battle Royale. There's all these Battle Royale sessions trying to like not just replicate popularity, but replicate the money. These studios want to see that same money that Warzone makes, Fortnite makes, and that Apex makes, even though they're not making a game that's as catchy for the mass public as those games.
Firestorm flopped harder than the last 10 years of the Halo franchise, and countless AA and indie battle royales went as fast as they came.
That's what she said.
Like any trend, it was
Hyperscape.
and as PUBG lost
That game had
dominance over
potential,
the years, the
but
three
Ubisoft,
titans
as
of
always, shot the
Battle
ball.
Royale cemented themselves. Fortnite, Apex Legends, and Call of Duty Warzone. Now, if you're a part of the 53.2% of viewers who are not subscribed...
Hey, look, I'll tell you this right now, Hiddenxperia. Your numbers are a lot closer than I've seen with most people. I've seen people who have like an 80 non-subscribers to 20 subscribe ratio. Like, I've seen some pretty lots of ratios. His ratio is actually pretty close. So like, I've never seen someone whose ratios are this close. A lot of people, even my own ratios on YouTube, are not that close. There's most of my viewers on YouTube, I would say like 7% or even up to 90% aren't even subscribed. It's like that ratio, that's pretty close. So you've done pretty good.
I kindly guide you below the video where you can hit that subscribe button, and you know, whilst you're down there, you may as well ring the old bell as well. But what goes up must also come down. Battle Royale's popularity has definitely peaked, and the hype that used to surround it just doesn't really seem to be there anymore, even for big new releases like Warzone 2. Anecdotally speaking, the hype for Warzone 2 didn't even come close to Warzone 1, and besides its dedicated player base, general interest already seems to have petered off. So, why? Repetitiveness. I'm one of the people who played a shit
100%, 100% when it comes to repetitiveness. I don't play Battle Royales that much anymore because they're boring. Like, I've gotten to a point like I haven't played Apex not because I hate Apex or anything of nature, just I don't feel like there's anything you needed to achieve in Apex. Like, I played it on PC, did good at it, got some wins, and it's like, yay. Played it on console, did the exact same thing, yay. But now you're just redoing the same thing over and over again. It doesn't have, like, say, the fun factor of a single player game that you're like playing over, because every game has repetitive to a degree. I can replay Halo every single year for 20+ years and not get tired of it, because it's a good story to experience with good music that can experience. Whereas Apex is not really anything different. Like, there's no story within the gameplay itself that makes you want to keep coming back to it. There's nothing that drives me to come back to Apex. Same thing comes to Fortnite. Fortnite has too many gimmicks, which kind of killed it for me. But at the same time, it's the same thing. It's like, all right, after a few hours of playing, I don't really feel like I can play this game again for another few months. Warzone, the only thing Warzone has going for it for me is I don't play it a lot. So because I don't play Warzone a lot, I can play it, you know, once a week, which is kind of what I do. I kind of play Warzone legit like once every 2 weeks, and it doesn't feel repetitive because I don't play it a lot. Whereas like Apex, when I play Apex, I'm playing Apex basically every single day. I was playing Fortnite, I was playing Fortnite every single day. Warzone, once every 2 weeks. Not Warzone's fault, just I don't really feel the urge to play it as often.
From like 2015 up until probably late 2020. I mean, I went through periods of being addicted to H1Z1, PUBG, Fortnite, Apex, Warzone, and at the end of the day, although these games do offer very different playstyles, their overall formula is pretty much identical. You know, Battle Royale is referred to as a genre, but to be honest, I don't think it is a genre. Genres are blanket styles of game that contain a wide range of different takes on a core formula or idea. Think first-person shooter, for example. Halo, Cyberpunk, Escape from Tarkov, Superhot, and High on Life are all technically first-person shooters, but are radically different from one another in almost every conceivable way. The only similarity between these games is their view perspective. Battle Royale, however, isn't as flexible. Similar to Team Deathmatch or King of the Hill, it has a set of strictly defined traits that make Battle Royale Battle Royale. It's not a genre, it's a game mode, which inherently limits what you can do with it. Now, just like modes like...
It's like, it's not, again, there's a game called Spellbreak, where I feel like it was so unique in what it was, because it was a game where magic was your battle royale, but it was like you use magic as your primary source of power. You use like other abilities involved with magic, so it's like you're not playing a shooter. Most battle royales at their core are shooters. You know, even think about something like Blood Hunt, which, you know, tries to be a little different because it's vampires, you can climb up freaking walls, but at the end of the day, it's still a shooter. Spellbreak, what it had going for it was it's not a shooter, and I feel like that's kind of the issue with battle royales, is that, like, for the most part, they're all just shooters. You're not really seeing battle royales out there that deviate from just being at its core an FPS game.
Team Deathmatch, for example, have seen innovation over the years with modes like Kill Confirmed. You can, of course, innovate within the Battle Royale game mode. I mean, Fortnite introduced building, Apex introduced heroes and revives, Warzone introduced an economy, but the overall goal of Battle Royale remains the exact same between every single iteration.
Shoot it in the face and win.
In, loot, kill, survive. This gameplay loop is what made Battle Royale so popular in the first place because it crafted.
It's also casual. That's the other thing about Battle Royales is like,
but at the same
Battle
time,
Royales are super casual. Like, you don't have to be the best player at a shooter to be decent at Battle Royales. You don't have to be the best shooter FPS player to freaking win in a Battle Royale. You can get carried pretty easily. You can camp your way to freaking success. I'll give you an example. Me and Buddy Potato, we played a game of Apex where we had a guy on our team who's a random who went AFK, and he literally went AFK in the perfect spot. As in, at the beginning of the game when we first landed, he was AFK the entire time. And by the time the game ended, he was top 3 without moving once. You can literally win in a Battle Royale without ever moving, without ever getting a kill, without ever doing anything, if you happen to be in the best place at the best time. Because, you know, even if it's like a 1v1, like let's say it's top 2, that last person can die to the gas, they can die to the zone, they can die to, like, you know, just the thing getting smaller and they're too far out. So you can literally win in Battle Royales without even getting a single kill, without seeing a single soul. So there's a lot of casual and lack of skill to Battle Royales, and there's people out there who are good at video games who are like, oh, I have skill. Like, this isn't about you. This is about the core mechanic of the game and not necessarily being something that requires skill. So you have that low barrier of entry, you get a higher player base. Because when it comes down to gamers, casual gamers are the most people who play video games, and they are more drawn to games that they can easily play, easily get into, easily look like they're doing good, being a keyword here, so they can get 3 kills or 5 kills or 10 kills, and they feel like they're good at the game. And it's not the same thing as playing like Siege, where the casual gamer might get 2 kills and they're freaking 2 and freaking 6 and they're having a horrible time, or playing Gears of War and this guy's wall bouncing like crazy and they can't hit him, and they're like, this learning curve is insane. They're playing Halo or any other like shooter that has a pretty steep learning curve, and so a casual player is just like, I'm not playing this game because the learning curve is too high. I want to play a game where there is no learning curve. All I gotta do is just land, pick up a gun, and start shooting. I'll play Fortnite, I'll play Apex, I'll play Warzone, and if I get bored of Warzone, I'll go play regular 6v6s in Call of Duty. Basically how it is.
It's also the formula that's ultimately going to bring Battle Royale down.
Watch football all season long, live and cable-free.
One of the most important things for hooking an audience in any piece of media is telling a story, because that way the viewer or player or participant wants to stick around all the way through to see the conclusion. This is relevant in TV, books, movies, hell, even YouTube videos. I mean, I'm quite literally doing it right now with this video in the hopes that you all stick around to the end. And multiplayer games are no exception. The core gameplay loop of Battle Royale was excellent at immersing its players in different versions of this story with every game. Thing is though, because of how rigid the Battle Royale formula is, this story can't ever radically change. Regardless of the game you're playing, the story always begins with you dropping in and looting. The middle point is always moving in with the circle and getting in engagements, and the ending is always dying or winning. The story beats may play out differently, but ultimately they are the exact same in every single game. This repetitiveness isn't helped,
and a lot
by
of
the
that
lack of
is
any
random
real
chance too.
meaningful objectives in Battle Royale either.
You know, this goes back to what I said about being casual and taking less skill. There's a lot of RNG in Battle Royales. Like, again, you're basically trying to rely on, will you come across a meta or good weapon when you land? Do you have ammo? Are you playing a game where you don't even freaking have guns? When you start like Call of Duty, you start off with a pistol. So are you playing a game where you land, you don't even have guns like in Fortnite or in Apex? So you can be as good as you want to be at any video game, but you just landed somewhere where another person got a gun and you don't. So it's like, you're kind of just fun. There's a lot of RNG to it.
Challengers and Warzone introduced contracts to try and add some objective play to the experience, but again, because of how strictly defined Battle Royale's traits are, these little features can only go so far. The gameplay loop of spawning in equally, looting, killing, and surviving, all while moving in with a circle, must always remain intact, and over time, the only goal of the mode being to kill starts to get a little bit tiring. There's also no persistence either. Everything that you do in a match only matters for as long as that match is ongoing. For the most part, nothing you do in-game has any real purpose outside of that game besides increasing your skill rank or leveling up a progression system, which also really has no effect on anything at least functional in-game. Once a match ends, almost everything that you did in-game, any loot that you found, or any unique locations that you visited, become pretty much meaningless. They have no inherent value, they're simply just a means to an end. When you start the next game, everything you did in the previous one just becomes pointless. There's no connective tissue between the matches because to remain within Battle Royale's strict confines and to uphold the story that its gameplay loop tells, everyone has to drop in at the beginning as equals. Battle Royales are unfortunately stuck in a kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't situation when it comes to innovation because they're so heavily restricted by the gameplay loop that made them so popular. And because of this, there's a new sheriff in town, one with an equally dashing Stetson and pair of boots, but with a much shinier six-shooter. Extraction shooters. Extraction shooters are gaming's next big trend after Battle Royale, and what's interesting about them is that they're in fact born from the same game as Battle Royale, DayZ. In fact, they actually have more in common with DayZ than Battle Royales do, which is why they're going to take over. But what is an extraction?
I'm gonna just say this before he gets into it. And I'm sure DayZ's older. I don't know how old DayZ is. Never played DayZ. I think I played DayZ once in the game preview on Xbox like a year and a half ago. But the identity of an extraction shooter. Want to know what I think should get credit for popularizing the idea of an extraction shooter? The Division. The Division should get credit. Like even if this game or that game's the one who did it first, the one who should get credit for making it popular should be Division, because Division's Dark Zone is basically the first popular extraction shooter. Division's Dark Zone, for those who play Division. Division is basically, think of like a modern Destiny. It's a looter shooter, and then at the core of it, not at the core, but like there's a section of the map called the Dark Zone. When you go into the Dark Zone, it's a free-for-all. Every man for itself. You go in there, try to get the best guns in the game, try to get that loot, and other players can kill you for your loot or just accuse to be a dickhead. So PvP, all in, and the goal of the Dark Zone is get in there, survive, get the loot, extract. I feel like the Division is one who made it popular. And then from there, it went to Tarkov. I think Tarkov is what like launched it. It's basically being its own entity. And now you have Warzone, who has DMZ.
Shooter, I hear you ask, oh avid viewer. Well, allow me to offer a brief explanation. Just like in a Battle Royale, you spawn into a large open map with a number of other players, but with gear that you pre-selected before the game began. Your goal, or goals, are far more open-ended. You can go full Slayer mode and just hunt down and kill every player on the map, or you can kill AI, hunt down special AI bosses, gather loot, explore hidden areas of the map, complete quests, or even team up with enemies.
Want to work together?
To survive a game, you don't have to be the last one standing. As I'm sure you've gathered by the genre name, you have to extract from the map, which you do by going to certain locations, or unlocking certain doors, cooperating with enemies, or even using specific items. And then you're back at the menu, and this is where the real difference kicks in that I think is why extraction shooters are going to end up dominating Battle Royales. Persistence. Everything you picked up in-game, from miscellaneous pointless-looking items to weapons, ammo, and gear, is saved between games, and you can put any of it on your character to spawn with at the beginning of the next game. Obviously, storing loot is key for survival, but it has meaning beyond just killing and surviving. Extraction shooters blend elements of RPGs and MMOs in with the open-world survival formula of DayZ and Battle Royale. There are NPCs that you can interact with to buy or barter for items, or to accept quests which level your account to unlock more powerful gear for purchase. What seems like pointless loot that you just see on the floor in a game may be vital for completing a task, trading for a powerful weapon or piece of gear, or for selling on the player market for profit, or to level your out-of-game base so you can craft items or level skills faster. In short, extraction shooters extract the tense open-world combat and looting of battle royales and combine those elements with the long-term skill progression, character management, and economy of RPGs and MMOs, so every element of the experience has value, meaning, and purpose. There's so much more to actually do in extraction shooters. They take the fun but shallow gameplay loop of battle royales and add a whole new layer of depth beneath it, deepening replayability by ensuring that there's more to do when you load into a game than just kill. Escape from Tarkov released in 2017 and was the first fully fledged extraction shooter, the pioneer of the genre. Its steady growth since has put the genre on the map, but its explosion in the last year has started to do what PUBG did in 2017, disrupt. And the industry has taken notice. 2022 was the beginning of the pivot from Battle Royale to extraction shooters. We've seen several indie attempts on the genre like The Cycle Frontier, Marauders, and Dark and Darker, all offering wildly different thematic takes on extraction, but the real sign that the next era is upon us is the fact that—
Alright, so I was curious and looked it up. He said Tarkov was 2017, and he did say, like, Tarkov was the first, like, you know, this is the point of the game. Division 1 came out in 2016, so the Dark Zone is older than Tarkov. Point that out.
Jump in as well. DICE were actually a little bit ahead of the curve with Battlefield 2042's Hazard Zone mode that released in 2021. Dr. Disrespect Studio are working on Dead Drop. Infinity Ward came in with the first significant AAA take on the genre with Modern Warfare 2's DMZ mode, and rumor has it, Bungie are even resurrecting their pre-Halo IP Marathon as an extraction shooter in 2025. I guarantee this is only the beginning. But the real question is why? Why are extraction shooters the final nail in the coffin for Battle Royale? What about them makes them fit to slay the king? Well, I think the main reason is one that I've kind of already given: the way that they capitalize on Battle Royale's restrictions. Battle Royales couldn't start adding long-term RPG elements or persistent gear because then there'd be no equal spawns, which would then invalidate looting and break the gameplay loop and water down the story. But thanks to persistence, the way that extraction shooters tell their story can span across multiple games, whilst also keeping the tense open-world survival elements of Battle Royale mostly intact. As you level up skills, craft new items and weaponry, unlock new items for purchase, and even access new maps, your experience with the game naturally shifts, creating a satisfying and clear journey of progression from your first raid to your 100th raid. Now, Battle Royales do kind of have this to a degree. I mean, as you get better at a game, you survive for longer in-game, and you get the confidence to land in hotter zones more often, right? But it's just significantly
because I'm good at shooters entirely, I have the most broken confidence in Battle Royale. Because I'm good at shooters, I'm good at Halo, I'm good at Siege, I'm good at Call of Duty, I'm good at every single shooter. It's not trying to like flex things like that. Just, you know, I'm own up to it and mention it. But when it comes to like Battle Royales, like I said, I have the utmost confidence. Like I literally will push every single fight when I'm playing solo in Fortnite, in Apex, not Apex, but Warzone. I push every single fight because the second I hear gunshots, I'm going to that freaking fight and pushing it because I feel like I can win every single gunfight because I know that I have the mechanical skill to beat everyone in Battle Royales, because most people in Battle Royales aren't actually that good at games. And I'm playing with friends. Basically playing keep up. Like if you watch me play Warzone with my friends, it's literally just me doing a bunch of shit my friends are trying to just play keep up.
More fleshed out and pronounced in extraction shooters. Simply put, extraction shooters just offer more bang for their buck than Battle Royales. They're like actual complete packages rather than an extra mode that's just tacked on top of an already existing game. At the same time though, the kind of degree of overlap between the two means that extraction shooters are naturally going to appeal to much of the same audience as Battle Royales. And almost every shared feature between the two is just more satisfying in extraction shooters as well. Looting, killing, surviving, exploring, it all has far deeper meaning and weight, but more importantly, it actually has a long-term purpose, which is going to make it really, really easy for them to cannibalize a lot of Battle Royale's player base, both past and present. Speaking personally, as somebody who burnt out of battle royales like probably over 2 years ago at this point,
I feel
extraction
you.
shooters, Tarkov in particular, has just been such a breath of fresh air because it kind of gives me a familiar feeling that battle royales gave me in the open world tense survival element.
I would also say when it
which
comes
is
to
so
extraction shooters, that the feeling that they give me, and maybe some everybody else who plays games like Tarkov as well, but like the feeling that extraction shooters give me, like getting going back to me playing. I never played Tarkov. I've never played Tarkov. I played a lot of Dark Zone for the Division. The feeling that it gives you is around any corner could beat someone who can ruin everything you just worked for. It's like we play a battle royale, you don't really care. Like if you land in Apex or Fortnite or Warzone and you die, it's like whatever, who gives a shit. There's nothing on the line there. But in the Dark Zone or DMZ or Tarkov, you land, you're getting loot, things like that, and then just happen to be some rogue agents or whoever around the corner. Just wait what's type of rifle, or they heard you in your team, so they stacked up outside behind some barricades to wait for you to come out of a tunnel or whatever. Or they don't even care about even like extracting themselves. They don't care about getting loot themselves. They're just griefers who literally would just go to every extraction point and just sit like who are trying to extract and fuck you up that way. So when you're playing games like Division's Dark Zone and Tarkov and DMZ, that's in your brain the entire time. Like someone could be around that freaking corner who will fuck you up. Someone could be waiting for you to strike and jump you. That fear essentially is ever present when you play extraction based games, and I think that adds to like the joy of it. If you don't have that fear, you play any other like battle royale. You play any battle royale for that matter. You know, you only get like that kind of like tension, that anxiety by playing a ranked shooter like Siege and ranked, not like casual. You don't really get that anywhere else other than the extraction shooters. And even so, like if you're a solo player, your heart skips, your heart drops when you're a solo player playing Tarkov or DMZ or doing the Dark Zone. You're just wandering around, minding your business, trying to get stuff. You come across a full squad, like your eyes just go boom. You're just like, oh shit, they're gonna fuck me up. You don't even know. Like that squad could not even care about your existence. They're just there to get loot. They don't really care about you. They're gonna kill you. They don't care about you. But you don't know that. You don't know what that squad is capable of doing. You don't know if that squad's gonna be like, who cares if we go rogue? Let's just go rogue and ruin this guy's day. Because a lot of people in Division, they'll wait till they're done with all the things they need to do for the day and just go rogue on purpose. And you have other people who are going rogue to hunt down other people who are going rogue. It's all a mess. And you just have these people who don't want anything to do with PvP, who are just trying to get good loot. And they're just in the middle of that chaos, just like, I need help. I need help. It's lovely.
There's so much more to get addicted to. The way that all their additional out-of-game mechanics play into the Battle Royale-esque gameplay vastly improves it by adding far more variation and also personalization, staving off the repetitiveness of the BR formula. As I've already said, Battle Royale's objective to simply kill and survive is very one-dimensional. When you load into a map, you're doing mostly the same thing that you do pretty much every game, whereas in extraction shooters, your goals are so much more varied. You can just play each raid like a Battle Royale if you want to, or you can dive into the litany of other objectives and forms of progression that the game offers. The story told by the gameplay loop is far more dynamic. One of modern gaming's most annoying traits is just how handholdy it can be. Visual feedback, UI elements, waypoints, announcers. The player is treated as if they're a lot less intelligent than they actually are. It's almost as if the game is terrified that you're going to go play something else if you miss a single piece of information or if you aren't rewarded for every single thing that you do. There's also the fact that over the years, our dopamine receptors have become so desensitized to visual feedback in games, so to ensure that we still get dopamine hits from playing games, they have to constantly increase the amount of...
Reading that tagline at the bottom saying he's this part of the videos is excuse for him to use his psychology degree. As someone who's taken psychology in college and someone who also business administration in college, I always have a habit in like long conversations to use psychology or what I would learn the business administration, or just business tactics in general when it comes to like video games and videos. So I get it.
Visual feedback that you get, so they still make you feel as good as they used to. And now we're at the point where they feed you XP, loud aggressive sound bites, and flashy imagery for so much as breathing.
I missed that quality. That was such a fun game.
Only continued this trend, but extraction shooters, for the most part, go in the complete opposite direction. And given their rapidly rising popularity, it's almost as if there's a growing contingent of gamers who want to wean themselves out of their dopamine addiction that's caused by modern gaming, just overdosing them with it, and get it down back to a normal level. Tarkov, for example, has no hit markers, no kill feedback, no teammate waypoints, no minimap, no pinging, and no announcer shouting at you telling you where to go and what to do. You also stand to lose much more when you die in an extraction shooter as well. Because of the added value and meaning that persistence gives to loot, it also means that dying and losing all that loot is far more punishing because what you picked up and what you had on you actually has a long-term effect. Finally finding an item that you've needed for a quest and you've been searching for so long, only to die right before extracting, hurts so deep in there, I can't put it into words. No! Overall, extraction shooters are much more hardcore experiences, and after years of games mollycoddling players and giving them participation trophies for literally everything under the sun, I feel like a lot of people are craving an experience like this where rewards are actually earned.
I agree. I can see that being a
The
thing.
era of extraction may be upon us, and battle royales may be on their way out of the
Like I
limelight.
would say, that's kind of like why games like Sekiro and Dark Souls have taken off, is the fact that people were kind of tired of the Ubisoft formula of, you know, you play the game and everything you're doing just kind of seems like it's just being given to you. Like you don't feel like you're being challenged at all in games like Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War and Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, like these games, you don't really feel challenged at all. So like you're just playing the game, you're like, you know what, I kind of wish I can feel something, like I can feel an emotional charge of what I'm doing matters, or what I'm doing took some kind of skill or my own know-how, and I can overcome whatever that challenge is. I feel like that's kind of like why Souls games took off. Because like, remember, Souls games wasn't like as popular as they are now. Back with like Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls, like Souls games didn't take off until Dark Souls 3. And after that, then you have freaking like even Bloodborne. Bloodborne wasn't even that popular. Like Dark Souls 3, then it went to Sekiro, then it went into Elden Ring. It's like, so like people started at that point realize like, I want to play games that challenge me, and I can kind of see when it comes like a strategy games, kind of see when it comes to tactical shooters like R6 and, you know, Valorant and CS:GO, where people are like, I'm kind of tired of the easy 20 kills and get Call of Duty. Can I get 10 in Siege? You know, I'm tired of the 35 kills I can get in Call of Duty, or the 35 eliminations you get in Overwatch. Can I do 10, 15 in CS:GO? You know, so on and so on and so on. People want to get a challenge, so they leave those games into these, you know, harder games with a bigger learning curve and skill gap to try to feel something when it comes to, you know, achieving. Like, I actually completed something. Like getting that rank means more in R6. It means more in Valorant. It means more in CS:GO than it does in Overwatch, than it does in Call of Duty, than it does in Apex. Because, you know, you're just playing the game. You know, games like Battle Royales, you're ranking up like an Apex just by playing the game. You can not be good at Apex and get the plat. You can't not be good at Siege and get plat. You can't be bad at Valorant and get plat. You can't be bad at CS:GO and get whatever their equivalent to plat would be. Never played CS:GO, so I don't know.
But they aren't going to suddenly disappear. Trends come and go, but there's always people who love them so much that they don't move on to the next trend, especially for something that's been as big as Battle Royale has. Just like how MOBAs didn't suddenly die when the industry shifted its focus to Battle Royale, BRs won't suddenly die when the focus is shifted to extraction shooters. That's just not how the industry works. I mean, hell, even RTS games didn't die when the industry sadly moved on from them in the late 2000s. The change in trend isn't going to happen overnight. Tarkov may be blowing up right now and taking the genre with it, but it is an incredibly inaccessible game that's frankly way too hardcore for many casual gamers. I mean, for some people, like myself, that's a massive selling point, but I understand that I am an outlier. I do think that extraction shooters are naturally more hardcore than most of the types of game. It's kind of baked into their formula, But until a truly casual friendly one comes along, that's likely going to be born from a AAA franchise that people are already familiar with and already have an attachment to, Battle Royale will still have the crown. But its time on the throne has almost certainly reached its final act. BRs just don't have the impact they once did. Their rigid formula is starting to prove tiring and repetitive. And by this point, any franchise that's going to release a Battle Royale either already has, to great success or not, or has firmly planted themselves in the no BR camp. Besides one franchise, of course. The trend is exhausted, and extraction shooters are
what's funny, like, in the most unironic way? The Halo BR, the rumored Halo BR Tatanka, could actually be the new lifeblood for BRs. Like, again, people are kind of bored of Apex, you're kind of bored of Fortnite, you know, Warzone's kind of broken, and also people kind of bored of it. So when it comes to like something that's dying off, like a trend that's dying off, you kind of just need that shot of adrenaline in the chest that kind of like gets it going again. And ironically, Halo could be that. Example I can give is like with shooters. Shooters got like very, very stale, and it was oversaturated. There were so many shooters out at the end of the 360 life cycle. You had like Homefront, Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, Halo, Killzone, and you know, Gears of War and Christ. There was just so many shooters, and everyone's just bored of it. They all felt exactly the same. And then Titanfall 2 happened. You know, you started getting, and that changed the game. Titanfall 2 changed the freaking game. You know, Titanfall itself changed the game. You know, you only got games like Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Black Ops 4 because of Titanfall. You only got games like Halo 4 and Halo 5 reinvented themselves to be faster paced because of Titanfall. Titanfall reinvented the FPS genre for a little bit, which is weird because Titanfall itself wasn't that massive in terms of like monetary success, but it was just so popular and so well spoken now to where these other studios are like, we got to steal that formula. We got to steal this wall running and jetpacks, things like that kind of formula, because even though it's not selling a lot, people are loving it and talking about it nonstop.
Over. If you want to learn more about the pioneering extraction shooter, Escape from Tarkov, then you can check out my video on it by clicking the video on the right side of the screen. Thank you all very much for watching. Major thank you to all of my patrons for the continued support, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
It was a good video. Hiddenxperia does a good job. He definitely deserves, you know, he's doing pretty well, but he definitely deserves a bit more. He's if there's anyone in the Halo community who I think deserves a lot more than what he has, it will be Hiddenxperia. He's tend to be a very positive guy, tends to be like a very chill, laid back guy, or to say someone else who isn't really, you know, I won't say he's a bad person, but like he doesn't seem to be like as open minded to like the potential of games and their success and things like that. Like he has some good videos, but you know, one person kind of sounds like, you know, a laid back person who you can have a conversation with. Yeah. Next video out, give him a like, give him a subscribe.